Well, thank you so much for joining, Professor. It's a pleasure to have you on. I'd love to start off if you could introduce yourself, possibly your educational background and where your career has taken you.
Sure. Kevin Lane Keller. I'm the E.B. Osborne Professor of Marketing at the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth College. I've been here 25 years now, just finished 25 years. I have an undergraduate math economics degree from Cornell. And then I got an MBA at Carnegie-Mellon. It's now called the Tepper School of Business. And then a PhD from Duke University, the Fuqua School of Business. And was on the faculty at Berkeley, at Stanford for a number of years, and then North Carolina and Duke again briefly before coming to Dartmouth.
Amazing. And as you mentioned, your time at Berkeley, UNC, and Stanford, I believe you said, how have those experiences differed?
Different schools, different kind of character, if a little bit in terms of style and what they emphasize and your colleagues and everything. That said, they're all great business schools. And I think in general, those kind of business schools having focus on research and teaching and really trying to develop knowledge and disseminate knowledge. It's so, I just found it really fun and neat to be at those schools. All schools have their ups and downs, different things. So you're always going to run that. All businesses are that way too. So, that's going to vary at times, different places, but all really wonderful, wonderful places to be.
Amazing. And I noticed that you are co-author of the best-selling MBA, like Introduction to Marketing book. Why do you think that book was so successful? And is there any chance you could give like a little preface on it or maybe a summary?
Yeah, it's called Marketing Management, and it's we're moving into the sort of 16th, 17th editions now. And basically it was the book I used, the third edition, way back when I was getting my MBA, and the author was a guy named Philip Kotler, and Philip is still the author of it as co-author with us. He's an amazing guy with sort of the legend in the field. And part of it is, I always think it's about breadth, depth, and relevance. So breadth, it like covers all topics of marketing, and marketing is a vast field. A lot of people think marketing is advertising or something. It's way more than that. It's how you sell your product, where you sell your product, how you price your product, what your product is, what customers you sell to, so many different things. And then depth, because we have like academic and we have all kinds of research sort of that supports different guidelines and concepts and theories. And then relevance, we make it very practical and interesting and managerial. So because it's being used for business students who are going to go out into the world and apply things. So I think that's been the secret, and the key to success is breadth, depth, and relevance. And we have, every time we revise, it's always making sure that we optimize those three dimensions.
Amazing. Yeah, and kind of going into marketing. I know it's obviously so broad, but is there any maybe like top 3 tips or like someone just starting a business for marketing that you think are essential or a huge jump start?
Well, the 3 things I would probably focus on, let's start with consumers. And I think understanding consumers and empathizing with consumers, it's sort of seeing things through their eyes, walking, through their, or with their shoes, if you will. Like, you're really, the best marketers are just able to do that, because you have to have that ability as you're trying to market. You're trying to create value for them. You're trying to, find ways to make their lives better for, in little and bigger little ways. So that's kind of one of the core concepts. And so psychology, economics, a lot of sociology, all those kind of come into play to better understand, appreciate, empathize. That's one. The second is competition. One of the things I loved about marketing is it's competitive. You're trying to sell something, that's versus somebody else who's also trying to sell to that same person. So finding ways to, compete effectively, and how you do that with your brand and through your communications and your product designs and all of that. And then lastly, I think the third one is sort of the 3 C's, if you will: customers, competition, and then the company itself. And so that's really making sure that, you yourself build the right talents and skills. You're in an organization that has similar, has abilities and is trying to develop the right skill set to be the most effective at marketing. And there's nothing like being at a Nike or a Procter & Gamble or American Express, some of these companies are just so good at marketing and really respected and work hard at trying to find ways to better satisfy customers, better than competitors, which is what it kind of all boils down to.
Amazing. And like other than being a professor at Dartmouth or any other university, I noticed you were in marketing for Disney, Procter and Gamble. Is that correct?
Yeah, I know I've worked with a lot of companies. So
Okay.
yeah, no, a whole lot of them. And it's been, really, those were certainly some of them, Samsung, that have been involved with Ford, it's just a whole lot of different kinds of companies, Starbucks at different times, and Intel and a lot of technology and healthcare and, all different kinds of brands. And it's been, beverage brands, et cetera. So it's been a lot of fun because I've learned a lot from working with those companies and working with and learning from some of the people some of their marketers and their brands and what's working and what's not working. And so that's, to me, I'm really, really lucky that way. When I first started, some of the first clients I had were like Levi Strauss and Starbucks, Disney, working with Intel, just these companies, Nordstrom. And so I just learned so much. And I just continued to work with companies and applied my ideas and learned from them.
Very cool. And is there like a difference you feel like from being a professor from actually being in the field? Can you kind of touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different route. I got an MBA, so I thought and I worked for 2 years. I was at Bank of America. I was in California, San Francisco, loved it. But I knew I liked research and teaching, and they're two very different things because research takes hours and hours and hours and hours and more hours, and it takes a long, long time. And then teaching is this sort of immediate experience where you're really trying to, share some thoughts and learn from, and also, collaborate with students on that. So very different, very social, very interactive. I love both. I think they're both really interesting, and I think that's what makes the job kind of, to me, so rewarding, is to be able to do both of those kinds of things. And I think that's something it's a little different from, maybe industry. And that's one of the reasons I decided to go back, get a PhD, and go the route that I did. Was I felt like that I liked the idea of teaching. I liked the idea of doing research. I liked the idea of working with companies, and business schools really give you that opportunity to do it. I've mostly taught MBAs. I've taught a little bit of undergrad, but mostly MBAs.
Very cool. And someone as like a senior considering marketing as a career path or even as an emphasis, do you think that is a strong career path? And if so, why?
Well, marketing is always going to be, I think, it's one of those basic management disciplines and areas that it's the one that creates demand. It's the one that helps generate revenue for the company. And it's always going to play an important role, and it's going to change. And that's why the textbook, as we were talking about earlier, the breadth, depth, relevance, we're always trying to understand, whether it's now AI and artificial intelligence and how's that going to change marketing. So we'll bring that and other technology developments, cultural developments, whatever they are that might be happening, and just marketing practices. What are those? And so it's really important for organizations. And I learned that a long time ago when I was at Stanford, and this is going way back to the late 80s, early 90s in particular. I learned that there were some of these great tech companies that had these amazing products that were not successful because they just weren't marketing them properly. They weren't creating demand for them. And so, the product may be great, but if people don't know the product's great, if people don't understand why the product's great, if people don't understand why it's better than other products, then you can run into trouble. So the marketing, in terms of helping to design the right products, sell the right products, sell them the right way to the right people at a profit, and all that. So the customer's happy, the company, that's, I think, always going to be there for marketing.
Amazing. Yeah, and that's something I really like about like that in the field. It's always like evolving. There's always new inventions, new ideas, and there's just so many opportunities within the field. Specific to Dartmouth, is there anything that you think that university or their marketing program differs from other universities that you truly admire?
Well, yeah, it's Dartmouth College. We're smaller than a lot of the other top business schools that are part of universities that are bigger. So, and part of that kind of creates a community and an experience that's a little bit different, I think. And so it's very supportive, very collaborative. It's in a gorgeous part of the country, which is, right on the border of New Hampshire and Vermont. And it's a quintessential college town, Hanover, where it's located. So it creates a lot, good environment. But I think that the quality and I think the goals and the standards are really high at the college, and certainly at the business school and at Tuck. And I think we certainly share that with many of the other schools, but we have maybe a slightly different flavor in terms of where we are and how our students kind of bond, and how personal we can be with our students because of the fact that it's just smaller and it's just able to do it. We can customize things more. Students can really carve out their path in a way, and their identity in ways that may be harder in a bigger school.
Yeah, very cool. And my final question for you is there any resources, maybe books, articles, or websites you would recommend someone just starting in the field to get a better access to the unlimited amounts of information?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, there are lots of different, all kinds of really good trade publications like Advertising Age or Adweek. Obviously, there's textbooks like the Marketing Management textbook with Phil Kotler and Alex Cherneff that I'm also co-author on. So there's different kinds of books and things. The one I might recommend, there's the Marketing Science Institute. It's MSI for short, and MSI.org is the website, and it's a nonprofit that sort of links top business schools and academics with top companies and industry practitioners, and really brings them together. And I think they have all kinds of different resources and things to tap into, and that's definitely one that I would encourage people, because it brings the best of both worlds, if you will, together, and it's something that you can take advantage of. But the marketing, there is a lot out there to tap into, and those are some of just only a few of the resources to utilize.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and it's truly been a pleasure.
My pleasure too.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Okay, take care now.
Bye.